Hi, and welcome to the Ada K Show. I am Ada K. Brown, and am currently a criminal justice major, and I'm a deaf courtroom commentator. Grab a cup of Java, and let's dive in. Matt, I'm live! Welcome, everybody. Christine, 7-month members. Oh, you are so amazing. Thank you so much for being a part of this channel for 7 months. Oh my God, that's awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Everybody, welcome. Thank y'all for hopping in for our Sunday Night Live. I have opened it up. So if you want to be on the panel, click the link in the pinned comments and see if you want to, if you can join. Want to thank you, June, Erin, Elena, Christina, Gerald, Honeyboo. Thank y'all for joining. I hope this finds you well. We are going to, of course, what else are we going to talk about? Karen Read. But I wanted this to be an open discussion for the Karen Read trial. Y'all can hop in and give your comments and share. Go live with me if you wish. If you wish not, that's okay. How are y'all doing? Have y'all had a good weekend? I had a busy weekend. Oh my gosh, I finished my spring semester and I have a 3.86 grade point average, basically 3.9. I'm so happy about that. I got, well, with the extra credits and everything, I think I should have either a 99 or 100% in both of my classes. So this semester has been a really long semester, good semester, long semester. I will be starting in a week or so my summer semesters, and then I'll have a week off and I'll get married in August, and then I'll go back into my my fall, and I graduate this December. Yay! I'm so happy. I'm so happy. And I'll be done with my bachelor's, be getting my master's. I'm going to go directly into my master's if I can. I got to go through all the application process and all that, but we'll see what happens. But I should be a married lady by then. That may change what I do. Oh, sunny day. Hi, Jane. Hi, one sunny day. Clap. I'll give myself a clap. Yes, I did it. Yep. I kind of got in a panic mode over wedding. 2 months, 2.5 months till wedding. I have nothing but a church. We did decide on some of the food. I got a friend who's going to do the food for us, part of the food. I have another friend who's doing the other part of the food. I still got to get photographer, wedding dress, rental tables, rental chairs, tablecloths. I got to do decoration. I got to do everything else. And I'm going to school at the same time. I'm like, yeah, go figure. Go figure. It's been a cray day. A lot of good things. Oh, my dear friend who used to live here, she used to be my ride or die here. She moved to Pennsylvania and then ended up moving to New Mexico. and she's been here this weekend, and she has been amazing. I got to hang out with her, had lunch with them yesterday, and then today she and I just went and had breakfast together. Yes, I was up at 7 o'clock to go breakfast by 8 on a Sunday morning, the only morning I get to sleep in, but it was worth it. I've never had breakfast at this restaurant, and it was fabulous and totally enjoyed it. So if you're in the hill country, the Cafe on the Ridge restaurant near going out towards Harper, just past James Avery. By the way, if y'all don't know, anybody know about James Avery Jewelry? The guy who, Mr. James Avery, started making jewelry in his parents' garage here in Kerrville. Nope. We'll have kosher stuff there. We'll have some stuff that's kosher, but no, we have too many country bumpkins here. Rome was built in a week after all. Oh, Gerald, that doesn't help me any. I love you, boo. But anyway, we then went and visited a friend who was in a little art show and did that. And then we will have 2 items that will be considered kosher. So we don't have any Jewish friends that will be here. But if anybody is coming who has dietary needs or kosher, we will work with them. We will have enough food that's gluten-free as well. But anyway, we have Jennifer and I went to the art show. Then I said, "Hey, Jennifer, did you bring your pool stick?" And she goes, "No." I said, "Let's go home and get my pool sticks." So I got her pool sticks and we went and played pool. Yes, we went and played pool. Blessed by a rabbi. I know a rabbi. I can have him bless it. I can have him come in and bless it. Yes, I know a rabbi. That is Jennifer and I at the pool place playing pool. And she's a pool shark, y'all. But she hadn't played in like 6 years. I hadn't played in like 6 years. So, mm, so Dan Marco wanted a kosher wedding, but evil Donna. Oh my God, that is horrible. Oh, I forgot about that. Donna, when they got fake kosher food. No, but I can't. If I know somebody that is a requirement, then I will call the rabbi and we'll have something kosher for them. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to be a need in our wedding. Just saying. Sorry, something popped up. Seriously. No, can't believe that happened. How could you do that? Somebody to have fake kosher food at a wedding and then you invite a rabbi? That is so horrible. Haven't thought about sweets yet. We're gonna have cake and we're gonna have a chocolate fountain. Somebody has one that we're gonna use. I wasn't thinking about having one, but it is a nice, cool thing to have fruit and people can do their fun and the kids will love it. The grandkids will love it. His grandkids, I don't have any. Oh my God, I'm gonna be a grandma. I'm gonna be a grandma. I look too young to be a grandma. I'm not though. I'm old enough. Nice ring. This ring is not gonna be my permanent ring. This was my mother's wedding ring, and I really wanted to be engaged with it. I had thought about it, and I thought, well, my mother's deceased and my biological mom, and I thought this would be a nice, um, connection. So, the other ring is just as nice. Mhm. It is. Okay, guys, let's get into a little bit of Karen Reed. Anybody want to hop in here with me? Please let me know. All right. I'm going to read some of the notes that I have about Karen Reed. This week was a little crazy with Karen Reed, and my ears are awfully hot. Let me turn them down. So, if you remember in the opening statement, Karen Reed's retrial, special prosecutor Hank Brennan told the jury to rely on the science, evidence, and data presented to them during their case. I know, right? Actually, mom's husband, my stepdad. So we have just finished 4 weeks of evidence, and we are down to a single hair on the side of the SUV that was owned by Karen Reed, in which John O'Keefe had excessive access to. And on top of that, it was a little gray hair. Little gray hair. Could have come from any of the men who've been walking around that vehicle again and again and again for days before they found the hair. And the snow falling off the car didn't knock it off when it was precariously there. So much so that they took one photograph and someone probably moved, and then the wind blew the hair and the hair changed positions in the second photograph. Yeah. Go figure. So after all this, the jury has heard from 2 digital forensic experts this week. They heard from 3 scientists at the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab. The scientist testimony was a key for this prosecution. This is supposed to tie everything all together. Did it? Did it not? That's my question to you. Let me do it this way. It's easier. Hold on. Hold on. Crime Lab. Okay. Start question and answer. There we go. Hopefully I didn't spell anything wrong, but oh well if I did. We'll get over it. All message visible. Thank you so much. Okay. So the thing is that they needed to establish the physical evidence underlying the state's case. The DNA pulled off of the Reed's SUV taillight, the fragments recovered, and the area of Reed's boyfriend's body, John O'Keefe, did they pull it together? The week started with an investigator who found some of the evidence, concluding his marathon testimony, which took 3.5 days. Sergeant Yuri Butnick, what a name. First of all, he's the one that said he needed an English dictionary because English was not his first language. I don't think they have a black box info. They haven't done that yet. So Butnick answered questions over 3.5 days, and the investigation provided the most detailed look so far in the trial at how investigators came to identify Reed as a suspect in the O'Keefe's death. So on the morning of January 29, 2022, which we all know is the infamous day, there was a call at 6:44 a.m. about an unresponsive man in the snow in Canton on 34 Fairview. He told former Trooper Michael Proctor, on the on-call officer to contact Canton PD. Butnick and Proctor were shown bits of broken tail glass when they arrived at Canton PD about 9:15 a.m. They also learned that Reed's questioned whether she had hit O'Keefe while on scene. Now, that was all given to them from who? Jen McCabe. I hit him. That's where all that stems from. After that, they interviewed Brian Albert, the homeowner, and witnessed Jennifer and Matt McCabe at the McCabe residence. Why are you interviewing people in their homes? That's interesting. That is not appropriate That's not appropriate in any way. Butnick and Proctor decided to drive to the hospital to see O'Keefe, deceased. Butnick said he observed the injuries: blood under the eyelids, a cut to his eyelid area, series of cuts and bruises on the right arm, and swelling in both eyes. At that point, our theory had evolved to a vehicle strike based on the injuries, Butnick said, and that pop up? Quote, I was suspecting that he was hit out of his shoes. Yep, the cop that was not quite sure of his English, my dear. You were so correct about that. Mm-hmm. He was so unsure about his English. Mm-hmm. So Butnick and Proctor then drove to Diggington, I'm saying it wrong, I'm sure. Thank you, Miss Morales, and hello to Brit. You guys, if anybody wants to join me, you can voice only. You don't have to use your camera. Click on the link and come into the green room, and I'll pop you in. I do say a camera is required. That's for people who've never been on. I need to make sure it's a certain, make sure who I'm speaking to. But for those of you who are regulars, hop on. It's okay. You don't have to show your face. So with the missing shoe, wait, I got it. Okay. So Butnick and Proctor went to Dighton, Dighton, where Karen Reed's parents live. And she had gone to her parents. They went to see Karen Reed at her parents' house with the missing shoe, her stating that, did I hit him? And along the line of a statement, I was interested in the vehicle that she was operating that night. That was a quote. Butnick said that, okay, sorry. On the drive to Reed's parents' house, McCabe called the state PD investigators and gave them additional information. Jennifer called them while they were en route. Hi, Aaron. I'll get you on a second. A large piece of red taillight covered missing from the rear light from the side of the vehicle. We got a guest, y'all. Let me get her on. Woohoo! Hello, love. Welcome. I can't hear you. Oh, now I hear something. Talk. Okay. She dropped. Let me see what it says. You need to connect your microphone and camera before I can add you to the stream. So try it again, babe.
No, I had
There we go.
I had a Bluetooth speaker on, and sometimes that messes with the sound when I try to
Well,
use the
now I
microphone.
can't see you if you can see the screen. I've never seen that before. Ah, yay! There we go. Awesome. How are
Let me
you?
use my phone. I'm well.
So what
I
are
had
you
wiffle ball
thoughts?
today.
Huh?
I had a wiffle ball tournament today. That was fun.
Wiffle ball?
Mhm.
What's that?
You know the balls? It's like baseball, but they have like holes in them.
Yeah.
That's a wiffle ball, but it's essentially baseball.
Oh, cool.
You just use plastic bats. But we do that on the beach.
It sounds safe compared to baseball.
I got smacked in the middle of the head with, like, the dude threw the ball really hard and right square in the head. It didn't
And
hurt
you
as
don't
bad as
have
you think
little
it
hole
would.
dots on you?
No.
Was it traveling faster than 25 miles an hour, and did it cause a fracture and create all these cuts on your forehead?
No. It was more of like it stunned me for a moment, but
So, what would you like to share?
I mean, I've said it in the chat a bunch of times. There's just too much reasonable doubt. Like, yes, technically you can say that there's motive because she was mad at him and everything or whatever, but and the tainting of the investigation because they didn't do things right. I'm just like, now now I can't believe your side because you guys didn't do your job properly. So why should we believe your side?
Well, I find it interesting people say that, and I'm all like, dude, my ex-husband, I thought we had the most perfect marriage and went to jail, committed a crime while we were married. I didn't know he was committing, went to jail. I lost everything. And let me tell you, my anger was up there. If something would have happened to him, they would have accused me of it because I was that pissed. But no matter how pissed off I am at my spouse or boyfriend, does not mean I'm red room them.
Yeah.
It does not
Some people
mean that
do, some people
I
don't.
unalived them. Probably wished we could have, but you know,
Most people don't take it to that level. And there are some people that do.
well, Sarah Boone did too.
But
And
she was crazy anyway.
oh, we got a lot of them. But anyway,
She was bad. Now that trial, I
Simatilli,
definitely really followed.
Simatilli. I think her and Simatilli need to be in the same cell. And then let's throw in Donna Adelson.
Lori Daybell.
And then Larry Daybell. Why don't we put all four of them in one room?
Yeah, they can share a cell.
See who survives.
Well, as long as there aren't any suitcases, I think everybody will be okay from Sarah.
They're trunks. They're metal lockers. Hi, out and about with Diane. Hello. So, all right. Number one evidence that surprised you that supported the prosecution.
Are they saying that they found her DNA on the taillight? Because I don't know that I really that there's really like evidence to me that says, okay, yeah, like there's circumstantial evidence that you could say maybe, but it's not enough to me where it's.
You said her DNA on the taillight.
Well, I know he was the one hit by, but they're saying it was her taillight.
You said her DNA on the taillight, but you meaning her taillight with his DNA. Well, the thing is that his DNA is going to be there no matter what.
It was his car.
You know, one thing that gets me in this investigation, since we're talking about taillight, and I wanted to talk about this. I use a straw. If this is a piece of plexiglass or plastic, and I bend it this way and break it on a molecular level or you can see it, but focused in, you're going to see how the fibers spread out this way and pinch in at the bottom. You're going to see the direction in which the tail or the fabric or the material broke. So you're going to see that the point of impact is going to push it in like it does my skin.
Right.
And it's going to push it out on the backside. That's a point of contact. But if they have the tail light and they're bending it like this is a tail light and they want to break it, they're going to bend it backwards. Or if you got a big chunk and they bend it this way, all of the breaks would go in the same direction. Nobody is looking at this at that level to say which direction are these breaks going in. Are they consistently all the same level? Are they all breaking into the tail light? Or do we have some that are broken in and over here some that are broken out? Does that make sense?
Yes, but why would that necessarily matter?
Because if she had hit him or impacted anything in anyone, it's all going to be the same direction. It's an impact. If it's a setup and they got foolish and they took bigger pieces and broke them, because it's harder to break it inward than it is to take the outer edges and snap it. Okay. This is the tail light. And it's harder to impact it from the outside and break it this way. But if you really want to break it quickly, you're going to break it from the outer edges that are not attached and you're going to snap it inward.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. If there's in and outward breaks, then that would be inconsistent with her hitting him or a tail light. That means it's been manipulated.
Okay. Yeah.
You're like,
no, I hadn't considered that, but that's something that you think that they would, or at least maybe the defense would maybe want to point out, is trying to look at it like that. Or maybe they're not doing that because they're not disputing that she broke the taillight somehow.
Well, the thing is no, she broke her taillight when she backed into the vehicle, right?
Right.
That's their defense. But all of a sudden, and I talked to a friend of mine, she can't come on camera because she still works for the she works for a part of the sheriff's office, but she lived in Boston and she was the evidence officer for Boston PD. And she said that all of this evidence has been so mishandled that this case shouldn't even be.
That's
Not
the
only
main thing.
Yeah, but number 1, but number 2, the tail light, all those pieces should have been more like down and within 2 feet of the vehicle. They're not gonna fly 18, 20 feet into the yard.
Right.
And you're not gonna find it if they did their job right, you're not gonna find it 10, 12 days later. And she said I said, number 1, she did say they were not equipped to deal with this. They did the best they could. I've been in situations we didn't have what we needed and we had floods coming. We had to get evidence. We do the best we can. I said, "Yeah, but could they not have taken a clean tarp from their kit and covered that area and let the snow fall on it, and then once it stopped snowing, lift that off, all that evidence would have been preserved." And she goes, "Yep."
Yeah.
They could just covered it and left a cop until further notice. The other thing she said, though, that was interesting is that, well, it says here, somebody touched on it, but having the Michael Proctor having the, clothing in the back of his car for, like, 8 days or something like that, and not turning it over to the lab for, like, 8 days. I don't have it in front of me. I was looking at
And
it
then
down
the
here
evidence was like
in
marked
my notes.
properly or like set
No.
properly, labeled and things. Like, and it's like,
Yeah.
why? Why? Like, why wouldn't you do any of that stuff?
Oh, I've been in and out too much this time around. I caught some here and there, but I don't have enough to say other way. I was wondering if it was, it'll be hung again. It could be. Now, Ronnie, this is something we're going to talk about is that tennis shoe. And I talked to her about this too. And she goes, I have never seen 5 DNA ever found on anyone's shoe.
Because all the
Maybe
cops were
2.
touching that shoe. They were all touching it.
Okay, dragging him out.
Hmm.
But the thing was, is she said they should have tested everybody in his household DNA. They should have taken the DNA of everybody who'd been in that house that night and on scene.
Right. Because
And she couldn't understand why Auntie Bev would not permit it.
I mean, because she wants to make sure. I I think there's a very good chance that it was other police officers. They don't want the public to know that.
No. Oh, you
And
won't like
they don't want to have to admit that Canton PD just was completely incompetent in the way they handled the investigation.
but this is what kind of got my goat is that didn't didn't they say that the police chief said we have to recuse ourselves immediately when John O'Keefe passed away,
I was gonna
and
bring that up
then
and
and
decided
then
not
they
to.
didn't, and they left the scene what were you gonna say about it?
Or just bring that, like, I thought I had heard that they were supposed to, or they had recused or were supposed to, but if they were to do that, who comes in to do the investigation? Like another police department or
The state troopers, Trooper
gotcha.
Proctor, but they couldn't get there for hours and hours and hours, which I thought, "That's weird." But supposedly they were on another scene or something, I can't remember now, but there was an excuse why they couldn't get there, and then they turn around and say that we have, they get there and they start their investigation, and one thing that my friend said, and I asked her about the Solo Cup in the snow and all that, she goes, "First of all, the blood should never been collected because it's non-viable, really. It's not even though they say they got DNA, it's so corrupted that it should have been dismissed." The other thing also is that, I made a comment to another person I know who's in the police force, and I said, "What would you have done if you were there? It's 4, 5:36 in the afternoon. It's not currently snowing. The snow is starting to melt. You're starting to see grass. What would you do?" She goes, "I would have scooped up every bit of that snow. I would have sifted it in the entire freaking yard."
There were some like they could have done better. They could have done better, to say the least.
Higgy made it. The department could have brought back some kids. Well, that's true, but they shouldn't even been doing anything to begin with. They needed to recuse themselves, and then Trooper Proctor should have recused himself, and he didn't. Time for a
And
backup team. Yep,
them recusing, that's because they personally knew John.
yep, yep. They had too many personal connections to the people in the house. So the missing shoe was an issue. I'm reading a few things. Let me get the medical examiner. I want to talk about that with you. So the doctor, the medical examiner ruled the cause of death as blunt head trauma and hypothermia, but did not declare a manner of death. Now, I don't know if she lied on the stand this time or if the testimony, I'm remembering it wrong, but didn't she say, Ronnie, can you help me with this? Yeah, no kidding. Didn't she say or somebody say that Proctor had gone up to her and said, "Are you sure about this? It was a car." It was said in the last trial that someone tried to persuade her to change her answer or her findings.
I haven't heard any of that, and to be fair, I didn't watch all of the first trial. I did catch some of the testimony, everything, but um I didn't follow the first trial very closely. But I do remember some of their experts, or whether it was medical examiners, even the state's experts, almost kind of saying, no, these injuries were probably not caused by a car. So I think what stands out, or and I hope the jury sees it, but what stands out for me about the medical examiner is the fact that the prosecution isn't putting up one.
That's right, Ronnie. There it is. It was a text message.
And do you think that'll come up, that, or
It may come up, I don't know. But one of the things I wanted to talk about real quick and going into this is that during the cross-examination, Reed's lawyer, Alessi, as the doctor said, asked her a question, and basically she said that the police investigators did tell them or her of their working theory that John O'Keefe had been hit by a car. Her comment was, I quote, "I did not have sufficient information at that point that pointed to a manner of death over another manner of death, and therefore I stated the manner of death is undetermined." Now, I think that was a blow to the prosecution because if a medical examiner is not willing to say that this looked like this could have been a death caused by a car or vehicle, whether it was accidental or purposeful, then
right?
how in the hell are you expecting a jury to find anything different from what the medical examiner? She's there, she's the professional. And let me tell you, those people are really good at pointing out vehicle accidents and people.
Right. You
They
see,
know their stuff.
and I feel like, I mean, yes, you can drive fast in the snow, but she would have had to have been driving. I mean,
25 miles an hour backwards within what? 50 yards or less?
right.
Less. And snow, which means there would have been some spinning of tires, and he would have had to flown. Now, this is where I think this case is going to end up before I go back to this. Is I think it's going to be the battle of the reconstruction experts and who's more believable. But I have seen 3 people in my life hit by a vehicle, live and in person. From the front, they were hit like this is the car. They were hit kind of between the middle of the windshield and passenger side. They flew to the right. Another one was hit between them on the driver's side. They flew to the left. Okay. You kind of get hit in the direction that you fly in the direction you're hit. And one person was backed up. The problem is when backing up and hitting his right elbow on that light, that means he was facing what I say the passenger side, right?
Mhm.
Facing away from the vehicle on the passenger side. That would have buckled his knee like an ACL tear. His knee would not been forward. It would have buckled this way. Everything would have buckled down in this way. He would have had a lot more injuries.
Right,
It
you
wasn't
would
like
think
he
that
was standing there with his elbow out and say, "Come on, hit it."
right, you would think that there would be a lot more bruising
Oh
or
gosh,
deeper
yes.
bruising. I mean, the head injury looked pretty substantial, but yeah, he would have had to have been bent over in order for it, if the head injury was caused by her
If his
hitting him.
head had hit the vehicle, let me put it this way. The elbow, okay, would have been severely damaged because that not glass, plastic is
Yeah,
literally between my fingers that thick.
yeah,
That thick. I know. My mom has the vehicle. I've looked at it, and other people have bought the tail light. It's thick.
yeah.
So that impact would have to be something hard, like an elbow, but that elbow would have been damaged. There would have been something structurally wrong.
Mhm.
Then his head would have to have hit the vehicle from the back or from the side, whatever. That vehicle would have an impact. Whether it was on the metal part of the
Right.
car, whether the windshield would have had there would have been some signs of evidence that there was an impact with the head, and there's not.
Well, and then the scratching, the scratch mark, or what looked like or potentially scratch marks, like, well, how does that fit into the theory of her hitting him with the
They're
car?
saying his elbow hit it, but the light housing would only impact this much, so when you opened it, it's still that much. It wouldn't come all the way down here and all the
Yeah.
way up here. No way.
They just the markings to me they didn't necessarily look like, they look more to me like scratch marks.
I originally thought when we had the first trial, I was watching this, I knew absolutely nothing about this case. All I knew, she was accused of being drunk and backing up over her boyfriend who was a
Mhm.
cop. That literally is all I knew. And when they brought out the glass after I saw the pictures of the arm, and I'm looking at that glass and I looked at that arm and I thought, could there have been a fight and he was defending and somebody was doing this to him?
Right. Or if they were arguing and the dog got involved, maybe the dog scratched him because he felt like his owner was being attacked.
I've said that 100 times. I do see teeth and scratches. I do see
Mhm.
the puncture in the pull.
Right.
What people don't realize is our teeth are smooth, but on the inside of a canine
Mhm.
or a monkey, it's almost like a little razor blade back.
Mhm.
It's shaped round. This is the front of the
Yeah.
tooth. This is the back, and it has a little point. That's how they tear their meat.
Mhm.
And so a puncture and a drag is normal. But what gets me more than anything with all of this is I have not seen anything to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm looking. I gotta be honest. I can play devil's advocate on both sides. I can do a lot of stuff. I can. I have the luxury. But personally, I am looking hard for proof that she did it. Because
Right.
if I can't find that proof and I'm looking for it, that's reasonable doubt.
Right. Like the idea of, when I think of reasonable doubt, it's based on the evidence and arguments presented. Is it reasonable to believe that this person did it or is innocent?
I don't doubt they had a disagreement. I don't doubt that they were still struggling over her misunderstanding
Mhm.
of this trip to Aruba. I don't understand. I mean, I get that,
Right.
but it doesn't mean that they were wanting to unalive somebody.
Right.
One of the things that's said is that the Emmy says she did not make she also stated that a fall backwards could very well produce that injury to the back of O'Keefe's head during questioning. However, it could, but what is realistically what happened? How realistic is it that it did? I've seen a lot of injuries from people like motorcycles when they hit them, they don't have helmets on and they got road rash and they've hit
Mhm.
their head. I've seen women who have been in a conference that passed out and fell backwards, hit her head on a chair, and then it was like a boom, like that you could hear it through the
Yeah.
whole area. It was a hard hit. I have seen those kind of injuries, and yes, you can have the busted skin, but the brain injury to me is what is gonna be interesting, and the fact that the ME sent it on to a brain pathologist, ME specialist, came back and said, "This is severe impact," and he looks like he's gone 12 rounds.
Right.
What's
And
your
just the
thoughts?
fact that there's not that like she had to like completely like run him over or anything, but the fact that there aren't more broken bones. Like
He's
were any of his injuries, like they said that like his arm was broken or anything like that?
No.
And let's say, okay, he got the head injury from falling on the pavement. Like, did they see any like blood in the snow around his head? Like,
There
cause you would
was
think.
some blood around his head in the snow.
Well, I
Yes.
guess too by that time, if he had already had this open wound, I guess it would have, there still would be blood coming out of it.
Okay, I'm gonna show you, by the way, these pictures may be a little gruesome for some of you, just forewarning. I'm going to show some pictures of boxers who have had facial injuries. I would love for you to see this. Look at this dude here. He's got a cut on the left side, but it
Hmm.
was the same place as it was on John O'Keefe. His eyes are starting to swell.
Hmm.
Hello. That
And
look to me is, oh, share this tab instead. That look to me is more like John O'Keefe's face after he went several rounds of boxing,
well,
in my
and
humble
what would
opinion.
the like because they didn't invest or really interview or investigate any of the officers that were there that night with him, like they didn't check to see if there were any other like motives, like because why
No.
why would they have beaten him up, like what happened, like why did they get into a fight if that's what
Yeah, but I mean, look at this guy. Look at this one eye. This is what now
Yeah,
I'm gonna
his eyes
and
did look
now
like that.
and I don't want anybody, once again, I'm gonna pull up Karen Reed's file. I have a picture of John O'Keefe with, his head and eyes. Please understand, I'm not trying to gross anybody out, but I we need to see this, and I told y'all that I would show these images of his head. I got hundreds of pictures, so I gotta scroll through and find them. Um, come on. Where is it? I just saw it. Oh, there it is. Let me pull it up and get it on the screen. Give me a split second. If you look at that guy's injury, okay, and then you look at John O'Keefe's eyes, you're going to see
Same
what I'm
swelling.
talking about.
That same swelling around
Look at
the.
the same swelling. Look
Yeah.
at that. And the cut is right here where the
Hmm.
blood's coming out. The cut's right there. And by the way, we don't show this to glorify, but I am trying to explain the bruising around the nose
Hmm.
and the face. That is all what I call boxing bruising. I'm just trying to see. Ryan Nagel did not see John in or around the SUV while he arrived to pick up his sister Julie. So John was already in the house, in my humble opinion. But yet, Colin Albert had what we call boxer knuckles, fight knuckles, raw, swollen.
Hmm.
Some of them a little like scabby within a day or two after this. But when you look at this, oh, I don't mean to go so big. There's the cut in the back of the head. That can happen from hitting the ground. I'm
Yeah.
not saying no to that. But this abrasion up here, this pink, That does not look like drag marks to me. Actually,
Right.
that looks like tissue that may be damaged from his head laying on the cold
Right.
ground for hours on end. His hand here, there's 2 punctures. This is not as clear as they showed in court. Those are from the IV. That explains this bruise. But what it doesn't, look at the bruise here, look at the bruise there. That does not, what about this area right here? That does not explain. This is an IV. The knuckles looks like he tried to defend himself.
From
This is
punching
the
something.
opposite hand, and look at this.
Yeah.
And this right here is in his femoral artery where they're trying to warm him up. Somebody asked what that was earlier. Let's look at the dog bites. I took his arm and I took the picture and I bent it like from this position to this position. And you can see the top punctures and the bottom punctures. This is top, this is bottom. Let me see if I can find that picture. I'm going to take this off screen for a split second so I can try and find that picture. But does that make sense what I'm trying to say, especially about the face?
Yeah, they look more like fighting injuries.
They do. And it's so frustrating because here it is.
They were they were
Here it
so
is.
focused on wanting to turn this into a lover's quarrel.
Yeah, they
And
did.
because it involved potentially other officers, they didn't want to go that route.
No.
To
Now,
even clear it, like you go down every potential avenue so that you can rule it out, but they didn't even try to rule it out.
no. So let's look at this. See this up here? That's a canine. That can be a canine. A lot of times the dog's uppers don't show. I was a dog groomer for years. I've been bit many a time. On big dogs, sometimes their canines will hit before the middle hits. So you get this bite and scratch, but the uppers don't, the between the canines don't cause the damage, only the canines. And then, so that's here. And then look right here. That would be the bottom jaw. That's perfectly spaced. Bottom jaw. And then all these right here could have been paw scratches because they bite and do that at the same time. And this could have been a multiple grab here. He could have nipped him here. But this is what I'm looking at. Look at that perfect line. Top, bottom. When the arm is bent, you got top and bottom. I know some people think I'm going off and going crazy over this, but this looks like a dog bite. I was bit and I went back like this and it barely caught me up here. Barely here. It was a little dog. So I had 2 punctures here and 2 punctures here and then scratches. What are your thoughts?
I mean, to me, that's what these. I mean, I'm not an expert in anything, but they don't necessarily look like injuries from being hit by a car. Is all.
This is something else that's going to come up, and I wish we would have more talk about it, is the fact that Ryan Nagel did not see John in or around the SUV when he pulled around the SUV to leave. And someone said, well, they were drinking. Yeah, no. You would see he had dark to medium dark clothes on compared to the snow on the ground. Yeah, you would have seen him.
And then the shoe
I do
that they
I
brought
do believe
in,
you're right. Huh?
the shoe that they brought in was so clean. It's like, why did you guys clean it so much before trial?
I was like, these look like
It's like
brand new
they
freaking
brought a
shoes.
new pair of shoes and brought that in.
Well, here's one or two things that could have happened with that shoe. But let's do this real quick. Already targeted before the incident night because he knew too much about LE wrongdoing. That's a very, very good possibility. But the shoes. Now, I had a husband who had one brand of tennis shoes he really loved. He had one really nice, clean, brand new pair that we would wear if we were going to certain restaurants or whatever. He had a second pair that he would wear knocking around the house or just running errands. but they're the same brand,
Right.
same exact model, make, model.
Right. And like they were the same style of shoe that was in the picture, but it didn't look like it was the same shoe. It looked brand new.
Well,
Because even the shoes in the
how do we
pictures
know
looked
they didn't
worn.
get that shoe from his closet?
Right. Like it was same style. It was the same, yeah, like the same model. But it looked too immaculate. It looked too
I
clean.
really
Like even
loved
the
it
shoes in
when
the pictures were dirty.
they screwed up and said, "Yeah, this is the one for 34 Fairview. It was the right one." No, that's the one from the hospital. The one yesterday was the left shoe that was found
Mhm.
at 34 Fairview that you entered in yesterday. And the judge interfered, pissed me off. Why is she going, excuse me, sir, are you sure? She stood up and she was like, "What?" She
Right. Like
should
you're not
not
supposed
have
to
intervened in that
like
because had she not intervened, the prosecution may not have caught it and they should have let it go. Let
Mhm.
it go because that was a situation that I call on the prosecution and that shows the lack
Mhm.
of quality of understanding on what piece was where, when, how, and why, and who got it.
Because they didn't label anything.
They
Or
didn't label anything. And you're sitting there going, I'm confused. I am so confused. Oh, I'm sorry. I got a text. My honey's on his way home. He's got a 2-hour drive at
Ooh,
night through deer
yeah,
country,
yeah. Well,
Windy
thank you.
Groves, deer country. But oh, that's right. LE did go to John's house. That's right. LE is who?
Mhm. Law
Who's
enforcement, right?
LE? Huh?
Law enforcement or
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Who's LE? He did go to John O'Keefe's home. So just saying, why did they have video of them leaf blowing, but they had no video of the crime scene?
What was the whole purpose of showing the leaf blowing? I don't understand.
Oh, look
Like
how cool this
like what was
works.
the
Everybody
significance of
should
that?
do it. Oh, this is so cool. Y'all, we're so smart. Y'all video. We're so smart. No, but I wonder if anybody's ever done this. Isn't this a great idea?
I
Look how
just
well it's working.
that to me, I don't know what they were trying to prove with that. So like that piece of evidence, like that kind of like went right over my head because like I don't understand the significance of what you're doing here. What that's meant to show.
Jury. Oh, yeah. Law enforcement. Oh, LE, law enforcement. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm really bad with acronyms until I'm, oh, okay.
Please.
Yes. So here's something else. Let's go back. I want to. So the prosecution lays out their physical evidence, and the way they do this is through 3 witnesses. Okay. 3 witnesses this week gave the jury their best look at the pieces of evidence across 2 days, testifying on Reed's SUV. O'Keefe clothing was described by Maureen Hartnett. The forensic scientist at Massachusetts State Crime Lab analyzed John O'Keefe's clothing and the tail light on the rear of the SUV. Then on Friday, the jury heard from a different scientist the DNA found in the SUV. The scientist Andre Porto said that the matched the O'Keefe DNA and pulled off of the right cheek taillight. So they're talking the DNA. That doesn't bother me because the DNA is going to be everywhere on that car. They didn't date for a week. They dated for a extended period of time,
Mhm.
long enough that he could have washed that car. He probably touched the back of that car.
Yeah.
There's a lot of DNA in that car. So that doesn't bother me. But what I do have a problem with is the shoe with 5 different contributors of DNA. Why is there 5 contributors? How often do 5 people handle your pair of shoes to the extent that the DNA is left behind?
Right.
I
And
live in a house
was
with
it
2
not
kids. They
connected to
never touch
anybody?
my shoes.
Like did they ever figure out who's like the other DNA who it belongs to?
Auntie Bev would not allow the anyone else to be DNA tested, from what I understand. Yeah, I know. I think they
She
asked
don't
for
she
getting
knows
certain
that
people
there's
DNA, and
somebody's
she said no.
she knows that there's somebody's DNA and they're probably from that police station that shouldn't be there or
Yep.
several.
I'm like, I don't
It just
understand. I get it. The jury also heard that plastic shrouds recovered from 34 Fairview matched Reed's taillight. No kidding. But here's something about the taillight that I said, and I wanted to get your thought on, or everybody's thought on. First of all, let me ask you, and I asked a friend of mine, remember that lady I said who's an evidence
Mhm.
specialist? I asked her, I said, if someone's tail light caused somebody to be injured and it shatters and breaks into a lot of pieces, would you expect for the investigators to cover 99%, or let's just say 90% of that tail light and be able to put it all together except for one crack? She goes, hell no. I said, they had everybody tromping around on the grass. That would have broken some of them. Number 2, you have police vehicles, EMS, and fire trucks driving up and down that street. Number 3, they had didn't they say 18 days between the first and last piece was found, or 12 days, or some
It was
big
an I
stretch?
don't remember the exact, but it was an extended period of time.
It was at least 2 weeks.
I wouldn't say I know it was more than 10 days they had said.
And then you have a sheriff that's not even supposed to be on scene. That sheriff should never have been there. They recused himself. He had no reason to drive down 34 Fairview, and from his vehicle in the middle of a street, looked at the yard and that quick saw a piece of red glass that big way over in the yard while Trooper Proctor and the state troopers were doing their investigation. He just gets out of his car. He walks over there, and then he calls somebody to come look. How do we know he didn't drop it when he got there, just out the pocket? Go, oh,
Right.
guys, look what I found. Please. See it from a vehicle. And she goes, never going to happen. Never going to happen. No.
No, it's
And the
just
fact that they found so much of it is what's concerning me. It's too clean. It's too pieced together. I would be more
yeah.
acceptable of the possibility of them reconstructing it if you had bits and chunks missing,
See? Yeah.
but they had it so down to the point that it was just a specific little, almost like a wishbone, but kind of a
Mhm.
squished wishbone piece missing.
Like somebody who's trying to fake evidence almost.
It's
Too
put together
too
too
professional.
cleanly
Yeah.
for me. What do you think?
Um, it definitely raises some questions or eyebrows of like, how convenient that most of the time that never happens, and lucky you guys were able to find all of this taillight.
Ronnie, you bring up a good point. And the homeowners never saw anything in the yard? Um, if I'm a cop and anything happens and once they leave the scene, they left.
Yeah.
And then they kept coming back over 2 weeks and finding pieces. Once you leave that scene unsecured, to me, nothing else should be accepted. It
Not after
shouldn't
day
be
one.
brought as evidence. I don't care if it's a
Yeah.
shooting gun, but if I'm a cop and something happened, even not, I'm gonna go walk my yard and go, "What in the hell? What can I find?" That's just me. Maybe I'm just too involved.
Well, I mean, I think most people would, like, if you are not told that, hey, this is an active crime scene, you like you can't be in this area. Most people are going to be curious and check it out. you know.
Yeah, and he's a cop. You know damn well he's gonna go through that
Mhm.
yard with a fine-tooth comb when he can. Magic Yeah, exactly. But the defense okay, so, now the defense made Proctor a key character. Well, I'm gonna go back up. During, Valier's testimony, an image was displayed on screen that showed all of those pieces of glass put back together on the taillight housing by Assistant DA Adam Lally. Still, there was a piece missing from the tail light. Why? could you not find that other piece? And a comment was made that I caught in passing, and I tried to find it and I can't, where Karen Reed said somewhere that she picked up a small piece of tail light and threw it away, not realizing it could have been evidence. Don't know how much of that is true, but I remember hearing something along the lines of that. But then the defense made prosecutors key character. But the defense made Proctor a key character in the cross-examination of all three scientists. Hartnett, for example, testified she had no idea how long Proctor had been with Reed's SUV before it was tested. Now, that to me is a huge concern because there is a 45-minute window-ish where he was alone with that vehicle. And who was that person who popped up and walked out? I remember that video glitch. It was just Proctor. And then all of a sudden this person pops up and is walking out of the Sally Port.
I think I vaguely remember seeing that one.
So if he's on the ground, Proctor, you can see his head. Here's the car. You can see his head. And the other guy is squatting down, messing with that tail light.
Like, were they trying
breaking
to break
off pieces, puts them in his jacket and stands up and walks out.
Yeah.
Yes, out of the driveway. You're correct, Roddy Cat Mom. She picked it up out of the driveway. You're right. She found it in the driveway at John O'Keefe's home. Go ahead.
I forgot what I said.
We were talking about the guy popping up and having the pieces.
Oh, well,
it was before Trooper Proctor and them got on scene.
Right. I mean, it's definitely possible that's exactly what was going on.
It could be something else. It's called what?
Reasonable doubt.
Yeah, some people don't understand that very well. Also, Valier confirmed that Proctor dropped off O'Keefe's clothes at the crime lab and took Proctor 6 weeks to bring the clothes to the lab. And Valier said she didn't have any information as to why or about that wait time.
Like, you didn't ask why it took that long.
I did ask my friend who was a police officer in Boston, evidence specialist. You do not allow something to sit that long.
Right.
One day, two, over a week, maybe.
It's just like mistake after mistake, mess up.
Oh, not necessarily mistake, but not following procedure after not following.
Yeah, like mess up after mess up. Like
mistake is, oops, I didn't know it was an accident.
Right. It's almost like
this is belligerent
on purpose. But
yes, Chief Radfrey was in the Sally Port. He shouldn't even been there.
Yeah. There was just a free for all for them.
It appears through Brennan is coming to the end of his case in chief. His entire case may be coming down to the testimony of Jason Welcher, an accident reconstruction expert from the firm Aperture. Welcher is expected to define for the jury exactly how and when Reed struck O'Keefe with the SUV. He's going to come in sometime next week or as late as next week from this Tuesday, which pisses me off because they said their case in chief was only going to take 3 weeks. That means we're going into week 5, week 6. This means this is going to be a very long trial.
Yeah. How long was the first one?
13 weeks.
Yeah. So you think it'll be longer than 13 weeks?
I don't think it'll be longer. I don't think the prosecution's going to, the defense is going to take.
Still not as long as that. What is the
I have a book
YSL
this thick.
Or something trial? That's like 6 months.
Which one?
YSL or something. No.
Oh, the YSL. Oh, no, it's not going to be like that. No.
Is that trial still going on? I don't know.
Now, let's talk about this ruling that the prosecution scored. One of the most significant things happened.
I actually have to go. I'm house sitting for a friend right now, and they're going to get home soon. So,
thank you for hopping. You are welcome to hop on anytime. Just anytime, just say, hey, I want to hop in. Just let me know. I'll send you the link.
Okay, perfect.
I was going to say, cute house.
Yeah, it's not my house. No, my friend, she's very good at making things look real nice and everything. This lighting is
My
horrible.
sister was that way, and I'm struggling like crazy. I
I'm
am
not
because
very
my
decorative.
wedding's coming up, and my sister would have had it all done. Everything
Yeah.
planned, everything done.
Yeah, no, that's I usually go for my sister for that kind of stuff because she's good at that too. She's the planner. I'm the kind of I tend to wing things a little bit. So,
Well,
but thank
Ronnie
you for
saying it was
having
nice to
me.
see you on the panel. Thank you so much for hopping in, and it's
Yes, thank you for
anytime,
having me.
anytime. You're welcome. Have a good
All
night.
right.
Big wet. So anyway, wanted to talk a little bit about the rulings because these are going to really come into play. Anybody else want to hop on? And you don't have to show your face. As long as I know who you are, you can use your voice only. You don't have to show face. But if I don't know you and you haven't been here for a while, then I need to see a face to make sure that you are not a troll. That is vitally important that you's not a troll. Uh oh, thank you for sharing my post. I do you know on Facebook you have these memories to look back on? Oh, we're discussing week today we were discussing the witnesses from week 4 in the Karen Reed trial. And so anyway, that's way cool. And then my sister shows up. Okay. So, uh yes, Aaron is so kind. Prosecution scored some very, very important key point rulings, and I'm not happy about it. One of the most significant moments in this trial came with outside of the jury. My house is loud right now. If not, I would come on. Go in the bathroom. Uh kidding. And a lot of stuff happened outside of the jury, which really kind of bothered me. Attorney Robert Alessi objected to the new report from the prosecution expert. Shannon Burgess accused him of altering his conclusions to better fit the prosecution's case. If I remember correctly, Sergeant B stated he took the clothes and placed them and laid them to dry. He did do that, but he shouldn't have done all that. What should have happened and what normally or should have happened, I'm just going to say that, is that you would take the clothing when as soon as you get back, you have a bunch of that butcher paper and you lay 3 or 4 of them down on a table. You take the clothing, you lay a shirt down, you take a piece of that butcher and you fold it and you put it between the layers of the front and back of the shirt. You take other butcher and you roll it and then you slip it from the right sleeve across to the left sleeve. Basically, you're creating a place for it to dry where nothing is touching each other. The front and back aren't touching because you never know. There could be evidence on the inside of that shirt. So, yes, June, come on the panel. So that is an issue. And the way the pants were dried is an issue. You're leaving them in an open environment where anybody and everybody walks by. What you should have done is gotten them to the lab immediately. They have a special room or place that they dry clothing in a way that doesn't introduce to any more possible debris or evidence or whatever you want to call it. It does not contaminate that evidence as it dries. Not leaving it on a table in the middle of a police department where people are walking by and all of that. It was not properly done. So, back to this. In an additional report, um, come on, mouse. I have to charge my mouse. It died, so I'm now charging it on a cord and it's driving me crazy. So Alessi objected to the new report from the prosecution expert. So that's going to be a big thing. Well, there's an evidence room and there's the evidence locker. That evidence room was as open as it was the Sally port. It was not a room that was not going to be disturbed while the article of clothings were drying. At people going into the evidence room to collect other evidence walked by this table. Dust particles from the AC are falling on it. It was not in a sealed room, and that's the problem. And that's where the issue was. It was people still had access to that were not a part of the case. In initial report, Burgess signaled that the collision between Reed's SUV and O'Keefe occurred prior to 12:32 a.m. That said, the time frame had shifted to another report turned over to the defense on Monday. Now, Burgess said data from Reed's Lexus shows a collision happened sometime after 12:32 a.m. So you've got two things. They said initially it happened before 12:32. Now Burgess, the special witness for the prosecution, is saying after 12:32 a.m. Alessi and Cannoni told Cannoni he would need 4 days to properly shape the defense case in response to what he described as new information. When I asked about an evidence room, and especially since she was in Boston and a lot of this stuff was very similar, the evidence room is not a sterile environment for drying and handling materials such as clothing that are wet, soaked with snow and blood and everything else. It was not a secured. Why is my camera up too much? Sorry. My nose is itching. We're having bad allergies here. It is the wind is so strong that you could see the pollen going from the trees. I kid you not. I was driving down the road and I saw the whole tree go cedar just rupturing like popcorn. So, Brennan, on the other hand, said nothing had changed. He told the judge that Burgess has been examining the drift between the clock on O'Keefe's phone and the clock in Reed's SUV for months, and they reached a conclusion that just so happened to support the prosecution. Well, of course, it's going to support the prosecution. What can we say? Cannoni said she would allow Burgess to testify to what was included in his most recent report. Major win for the prosecution. Major win. Now, once again, people can disagree with me about the evidence room and all of that, but crime labs have sterile environments for all this to take place. And if this was a cop that was unalived, you would think that they would do everything by the book to the point that they would make sure that everything was perfectly dried, given to the lab as soon as possible, done it on a stat, and it took 6 weeks for him to get the clothing to the lab. That's strange. Back to this. The exact timing of the alleged collision is likely a single most important part of the prosecution case. In the past 3 weeks, it's become difficult to ascertain exactly when the crash would have taken place. No, Karate Cat Mom. There is a discrepancy in the time. It's a time discrepancy. The cross-examination of Ian Withen, a digital forensic expert called by the prosecution, said that O'Keefe took 36 steps from 12:31 to 12:32 a.m. on the morning of January 29th of 2022. His report states that O'Keefe locked his phone at 12:32 a.m. and 9 seconds. So locking the phone does not mean just doing this and turning it off. Locking the phone, well, I guess you can do that now and turn it off. Push and holding the button to turn it off. You cannot lock the phone any other way. That is a manual command that the phone has to get by pushing the button. Oh, why, you're welcome, phone. Keith O'Keefe could not have done so if he was incapacitated and lying in the snow. This right here has been my number one complaint. Hey, Haley Mouse, you're fine. My number one complaint. After the report was edited, that's true, Gerald. My number one complaint on this topic is how in the world can John O'Keefe turn his phone off if he was by himself laying in the snow unconscious because they supposedly the phone was under his body. Explain that one to me. Unconscious man turning his phone off. That doesn't work. Despite Alessi's objection, Canoni said she was not persuaded of undue surprise or unfair prejudice regarding Burgess's new report. Jack Lew, retired Superior Court judge, called Canoni's ruling right down the middle because she said that she would allow extra cross-examination, I think, and this is in quotes, to exclude expert is to suppress the search for the truth in favor of notice to the other side, he said. This is her boss. Y'all though don't know who Jack Lew is. I think no, he's retired Superior Court. Okay. Trial lawyers, particularly these top shelf lawyers, adjust to this kind of change all the time. The nature of what opinion witnesses do is so complex that changes are inevitable. Really? Don't worry, we're good. It's inevitable. Yes, there are going to be some changes in court, but there's more changes in this than the NASCAR racetrack during the middle of a pit stop. Now, prosecutors are able to call 2 experts who can nail down the specific timeline of that fateful morning in the view of the government. Reed's defense will call an accident reconstruction expert of their own who will speak for the firm of ARCA. Nina, welcome. Canadian, welcome. Hey, happy Sunday. But Welcher, the prosecution's expert, will be allowed to offer a limited rebuttal to some of the new testing those experts conducted. Another win for the prosecution. So you get to come, thank you for liking. So not only the prosecution gets to come back again and ask more questions than they normally get to. To me, that's not equal and fair, but I'm not the judge. Brennan said Welcher would either take the stand later this week or on Tuesday, the day after Memorial Day. That is where we ended everything. I'm like, what? I'm checking my Facebook feed. My allergies, y'all. Jiminy Christmas. Well, I've got some allergy meds I'm going to take. I'm going to have to start. This is that time of the year where I have to start taking a mild allergy med. If you don't know what Vera Bradley is, this is a Vera Bradley pill popping case. I have 2 of these, one in black, and then this one. I have one that I carry in my purse at all times, and then I have one I keep in my desk. And I always have what I need here, so I don't have to get up and go. But, yep, I need to take in a little allergy thing because it's kicking in. I knew it was coming like a wrecking ball. So, that is where we are with the Karen Reed case, y'all. It's interesting. I will tell you, it's been very interesting. Let me get y'all pray for Texas, Oklahoma, and all that. We got more tornado. Wade Wilson death sentence to be overturned, breaking down the new appeal in a nutshell. We will do that another day. What? The sheriff who unalived Kentucky judge could walk free. We'll look into that. Did y'all see that a ship from Mexico collided with the Brooklyn Bridge? And 2 hours ago, I wanted to get an update if y'all don't mind us doing this. Have y'all been paying attention to at all the prison break in New Orleans? Oh, it has sent a shockwave through the community in the police department, I mean, jail community. Thank you so much, Haley Mouse.
Partners, FBI Special Agent in Charge, Jonathan Tapp, ATF Special Agent in Charge, Joshua Andy Kearns. Where when we spoke about 2 days ago, these fugitives may not just be in New Orleans, they've possibly moved out to other parishes and other states. And the combination of local, state, and federal law enforcement working collectively to ensure the capture and safety of everyone is our top priority.
So true, June. Yes.
We also have with us from the Department of Justice, the Attorney General's Office, Director of Investigations, Leon Canizero, as well as you can see behind me, Mayor LaToya Cantrell from the City of New Orleans, our Senate President, Cameron Henry, Governor Jeff Landry, and his wife Sharon, FBI and Crime Stoppers, if not the coming hours, and there may be charges for you. So please, we ask you to do the right thing and contact law enforcement. There are several ways you can contact us. They've been on all of our social media platforms. And if you feel when you see law enforcement in your area and they escape, law enforcement presence is trying, federal partners will ensure.
Thank you, Colonel Hodges. Good evening. I'm Jonathan Tapp, Special Agent in Charge of the FBI here in New Orleans. 7 days.
Doesn't he look like a special agent? Just, he's got the look.
Dangerous inmates have been on the streets for more than 2 days. And we strongly believe that there are folks out there helping these inmates evade capture. The FBI wants to know, along with our law enforcement partners, that the FBI will work together to ensure that those people helping these inmates evade recapture will be held accountable. These inmates are accused of serious crimes. And until they're
Heinous
back
crimes,
in
one of them.
custody, we should all remain vigilant. We appreciate all the tips we've received so far, and we want you to know that the FBI and our law enforcement partners have been working 24/7 to follow every lead. The FBI remains committed to protecting the American people, and we have agents and analysts working across the country. The FBI will not stop until all of these escaped inmates are recaptured. We're asking that everyone look at these pictures.
They have 7 still out there.
And if you have seen any of them, please call. You can call the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. You can submit a tip at fbi.gov/New Orleans fugitives, or you can call any of our law enforcement partners here. I also want to let you know that we have increased the reward money from FBI from $5,000 to $10,000 per inmate. That's $10,000 from the FBI per inmate, $5,000 from ATF per inmate, and $2,000 from Crime Stoppers per inmate. So please, as Colonel Hodges said, we need help from the public, and we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Turn over to Governor Landry.
We'll see that in a minute, Karate Cat Mom.
Well, good evening, everyone. This is a very unfortunate and disappointing circumstance. I want to echo my thanks to our federal and state and local partners and everyone out there who has been working extremely hard to try to capture these fugitives. I also want to thank my fellow colleague, Senate President Cameron Henry, who's here today. Darlene, I'd like you to know that in addition to the FBI increasing their award from $5,000 to $10,000, I would ask that you go ahead and increase the Crime Stoppers award to $5,000. That's a $3,000 increase. Both Senator Henry and I are going to cover that amount. I
Oh,
believe that the majority of citizens in this state and in this city want law and order and security in their neighborhoods, safe streets for their children, and they are frustrated with the broken criminal justice system that places criminals and victims and diminishes the quality of life here in the state. They deserve better, and our citizens deserve accountability and transparency. Again, without the help of Troop NOLA, the FBI, the U.S. Marshals, NOPD, ATF, and other law enforcement agents around the state, we would not be able to engage in this manhunt, and 3 of these fugitives would not be in custody. Last year, with an emphasis on public safety and violent crime, the legislature and I pursued accountability and transparency. And while some progress has been made, the current issue, I believe, refers to jail keys to those.
Much of the information we had
Okay, we don't need to listen to every single word. I'm sorry. Not. It's one of those things that you just kind of go, they're saying the same thing over and over. I just wanted to see where we were. And yes, it appears that the we still have those fugitives out and about, and that's horrible, horrible, horrible. Oh, Brooklyn Bridge. I want to get this. I want to get this person up. And yes, I saw a quick clip of this. I was detached for the last 2 days. When I step away, sometimes I detach, and I'm just now seeing a lot
Information
of
is still coming in at this hour, but here's what we know. A Mexican Navy training ship was sailing on the East River when its mast collided with the Brooklyn Bridge. The boat was packed with passengers at the time of the incident. 19 people are injured, 4 seriously. The bridge is open to traffic. Addie Gajardo is live near the scene at Pier 16 with the very latest. Addie.
Jenna, truly a dramatic scene that unfolded before so many people's eyes out here on Pier 17. Take a look behind me. That boat was completely lit up when it sailed away, only to be now those people that were transported to the hospital. Right now, that information is unknown, but we do know that it was a Mexican Navy training vessel that crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge, and witnesses were here as this all unfolded. Take a look at this very dramatic video right here. It shows the 2 boat masts snapping as the boat collides with the Brooklyn Bridge. Multiple flags, including the American flag, are on that boat, and 2 large Mexican flag. In another video, you can see people scatter as the boat approaches the pier. People I spoke with say that this crash sent people screaming, saying they couldn't believe what they were actually seeing.
I had all the yard arms covered with cadets, I guess, from the boat that were putting on a show. It climbed up the rigging and then spread out on all the masts, all 3 masts. It struck the mast, chopping it off maybe about 20 feet or maybe a little more down.
And all of a sudden we heard tons of screaming coming from this massive crowd that was massed here. And we all got up, our hearts were skipping a beat because it was just horrible how it sounded. We heard like this wood crunch, which we then stood up from dinner right here and looked at the bridge, and we saw what everybody's already seen happen, which was just horrifying.
Now we are learning.
Okay, some people were blaming the tugboat. It pulled away from the tugboat. Nothing it can do. It's not attached. They can guide it on the one side. But my question is, when were they going to realize that boat was too tall to go under the bridge? Hello. Tugboat should have known. Whoever's controlling that channel should have known. The captain of that boat should have known that the mast was too big to go under. That is stupidity at its
That
best.
this vessel sails at the end of classes, and the Mexican Naval Military School cadets training this year, it left Mexico with 277 people on board. And Jenna, one thing that was very clear from speaking to people that were out here that witnessed this crash is that as they were recording, they said prior to that, there was an entire show that went on the boat. One of the videos that the witnesses showed me, as a matter of fact, showed that there was people strapped onto the mast. Right now, it's unclear if those people were actually unstrapped.
Coast Guard, okay. That breaks my heart. My dad was in the Coast Guard, but mistakes can be made. But ultimately, the captain of the boat is in charge. The Coast Guard could be there for safety because, like she said, they had performers. They were putting a show on. People were going up and down in the rigging and doing all that. So the Coast Guard or whomever could have been there just in case someone fell in the water. But it's not their responsibility to ensure that that boat will go under the bridge. That is the captain's responsibility, sole responsibility. He knows the feet and the height or meters, whatever, how you measure it, of those masts. And he should have also known, because it is marked, how tall that bridge is from the water line. And that is his responsibility. I'm saying it, y'all. I'm saying it. Oh my gosh, y'all. So that is so horrible. It's sad. We've had a lot of hard things this week. A lot of bad things that have happened. Y'all, one ship, two, she's going backwards. Okay. So our prayers do go out with the families for those who were injured. I don't know if anybody was unalived. Not too sure. Hello, Nina Canadian. Yes, Nina Canadian. Thank you so much. Is this your first time joining us? If not, it's been a long time. Because I don't remember your name, my dear. I don't. Also, Becky Hill in the Murdaugh trials. We are waiting to see if Murdaugh is going to get a new trial. Oh my God, I'm so for it. Alleged wife killer. And then Becky Hill was brought up on charges. There was a bomb, or an FBI calls California fertility clinic bombing an act of terrorism. We've just had a week of some difficult situations and some very scary and traumatic events that have happened here recently. So prayers go out to everybody. Okay, guys, I am going to wind this down. It is Sunday evening. It is 8:30 my time. I want to say to Aaron, thank you so much for coming on with us. That was so sweet. I enjoyed having you. Someone said that I was overlapping on Aaron a little bit. Guys, please understand there is a delay on my end, and I'm in hearing aids, which do create an additional delay. So if I cut her off or anything, Aaron, you hear this, please accept my apologies. It's just really hard sometimes for me to gauge when someone's beginning to talk or ending talking. Sadly, some sailors did not survive too. Oh, I wonder if they were way up on top. Oh, that's horrible. Horrible. Doesn't matter where you're from. It's horrible. Very horrible. I want to share something here. I'm going to read something to you. Okay. I put this on my Facebook. I'm going to share this, but I want y'all to, I'm going to read it because it's going to be hard for y'all to see it. And I thought this is so true. And I thought, I'll end with this. For a small amount of perspective during these crazy times, imagine you were born in 1900. When you were 14, World War I starts and ends on your 18th birthday with 22 million people unalived. Later in the year, a Spanish flu epidemic hits the planet and runs until you were 20. 50 million people pass from those 2 years. Yes, 50 million from the Spanish flu. When you're 29, the Great Depression begins. Unemployment's 25%, global GDP drops 27%, and runs until you're 33. The country nearly collapses along with the world economy. When you turn 39, World War II starts. You aren't even over the hill yet. When you're 41, the United States is fully pulled into the World War II. Between 39 and 45th birthday, 75 million people perish in a war, and the Holocaust kills 6 million. At the age of 52, now we have the Korean War starts and 5 million perish. At the age of 64, Vietnam begins, and it doesn't end for many years. 4 million people pass from that conflict. According to your 62nd birthday, approaching your 62nd birthday, you have the Cuban Missile Crisis and a tipping point in the Cold War. Life on our planet as we know it could well have ended. Great leaders prevented that from happening. And as you turn 75, the Vietnam War finally ends. Think of everyone in the planet from 1900. How do you survive all of that? A kid in 1985 didn't think their 85-year-old grandparents understood how hard school was, yet those grandparents and now great grandparents survived through everything listed above. Perspective is amazing art. Let's try to keep things in perspective. Let's be smart, help each other out, and we will get through all of this. In the history of the world, there's never been a storm that has lasted. This too shall pass. Wow. I loved that. Nope. I haven't forgotten. That we will watch. We will break into that from the Karen Reed trial. Then we'll catch up during lunch. But I do have that on my calendar. Let me pull it. Okay, so tomorrow, Linda Sturmer's trial. Oh, it doesn't tell me the time. I'll figure it out. But we will be watching that with anticipation. Okay, guys, I want to thank everybody for being here. I hope this recap kind of caught everybody up to what's happened this week. We still have a couple of experts, from what I understand, from the prosecution. The prosecution has made it very clear that they are planning on being still on their case in chief for the rest of this week and early part of next week. It's a long weekend in Canada. Woohoo! Well, thank you for joining. I hope you'll join us some more. We'd love to see you again. Please subscribe and become a member. Oh, I forgot to do the giveaway tool. Let me get the giveaway tool. Nobody go anywhere. Sunday Night Live. If you don't know, if you hit the thumbs up, and we only have 2 entries, so I'm going to give you a minute. If you hit the thumbs up, please comment I liked, ILIKED. Do that, please. I only have 2. It could be like this. It could be all together. But please, 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 please comment again so I make sure to get you. I forgot. We hope to see everybody again tomorrow. Thanks for stopping in, for all the new people who are watching, people on X, Facebook, Twitch, and of course, YouTube. Thank you so much. Guys, I only have these 2. Come on, y'all. We need more I likes. Otherwise, I'll just roll them in tomorrow. I'll roll it into tomorrow. I don't want to, but I will. Okay, she has been here, but it's... Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. You were so good, Haley Mouse. Nina, thank you so much. And give Tanika my love. I haven't seen her in a while. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, we got 3 likes. Come on, y'all. Say I liked. Yes, you need to say that to be in the drawing. We're about ready to do the end of the month drawings. And don't forget, for those of you who are new, we are doing a Karen Reed bingo, thanks to our fabulous friend in chat, June. She creates our bingo cards. I post them and you can play bingos every day. Whoever's hitting the 100% and the hearts, thank you so very, very much. That helps my algorithm greatly. We have 3 likes. I hear for the hearsay. Do me a favor. It didn't get it. Everybody, do it like this. It will stick. Now, here we go. We welcome lurkers too. We love our lurkers. We really do. But I would love to be able to bless somebody with a $50 giveaway. Oh, well, another case, just a quiet follower. Well, thank you so much for making yourself known. Oh, that's okay, hearsay. You can always go back and rewatch. And if you are in the rewatch crew and I know you put I liked, I will include you in the next drawing. You like rapid fire? You know what? It's nice because people don't realize the heart, smiley face, the little confetti horn, and the 100% and all that. That interaction helps me. And it's very important. Okay, guys, Let me take a quick look at something so we can see how many people have actually liked it. We got okay, so we got 14 likes and 8. Okay. We're going to go ahead and do the drawing. Yay! I'll draw another one. What y'all don't realize, I was a drummer along with other instruments. Nope. Not me. I can't win. Yes, one sunny day. Welcome. Thank you so much. Congratulations to all of those. Come on. Give me the thing. There we go. I screenshot it and then I go back and add names. So that's how I keep up with everybody. It date, times, and stamps so I know who did what on what day. June has been creating these fabulous bingo cards. And we have a bingo game. And at the end of trial, for everybody who's bingoed, and you can bingo in any direction. You could do 5 bingos as long as you got a bingo on your card in any direction. And if you get a coverall, I'm giving you 10. We get coveralls, you get 10. Yes, and I have been so involved with this that I think I haven't been able to follow Sarah Boone like I want. So I'm going to reach out to Tanika and see if I can get her to come on and do an update for all of us. So maybe next Sunday, I'll reach out to her and see. We'll do maybe some members only live. Yeah, I am going to try and get her back on. I need to email her. Yeah, I've watched some of her replays before I go to bed. My problem is I watch so much of this court stuff that I'm trying to shut my mind down at some point because I'm live all day with y'all, and then I go home and I go lay down in bed and I start watching everybody else, especially people like Tanika on other trials. I don't want to oversaturate with Karen Reed because I'm already there. So I really, really love Tanika, and I will encourage people to watch her. She's simply the best. June, I thought I did it, but I'm looking back to make sure. I could have sworn I did it. I could have sworn, but I'm looking. If I didn't, then I'll do 2. One for the Aprils and one for the Mays. But I got to go back and look because I got like hundreds of winter pictures. And I mean hundreds. So I got to go back and find the date and double check it. Yeah. And this is not easy. People don't understand, having to try to keep talking and going and following and commenting and and then by the time I'm done, my brain just got to go to. But then I got homework to do for college. So then I got to turn into that education mode, and I'm sitting here every night doing papers. After I get off live, I do college work. And now that I'm at the end of my college time, I am actually at the higher level classes, which require more of me. Yes, I want to do that. So I'm going to try and reach out to her tomorrow. That's on my list of things to do. By the way, so y'all don't get upset with me tomorrow. I have to contact my university first thing in the morning. So as soon as Karen Reed goes live and they're open, it's all about my financial aid. And one of my classes for my summer classes that are supposed to be happening in a week is not showing up. So I'm afraid for some reason, somehow I didn't get registered. And if I don't have that class, I don't graduate in December. So I'm got to deal with that. So I will step away for about 5-10 minutes while the live is going, court is going, because those are calls I cannot make after hours. I have to make those calls then. And so I've got to deal with that. that is something that's a must. Financial aid, and because I don't want to pay more than I'm supposed to. And then also figure out why I don't have a class like I'm supposed to have. Yeah. Gerald, be safe getting home. I will see you when you get here. Y'all keep him in his prayers. He's driving around in the middle of this time of year where it's deer season, not hunting. They're just running everywhere. And I want him home safe. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much to my mods. Mods, I love you guys. You are simply amazing. And once again, thank you so much for your support. I could not do this without you. I could not. You guys are my backbone. And without you, this would not be possible. So thank you so much for all that you do. Y'all have a fabulous evening. And we will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Oh, tomorrow's going to be early, girl. But I'll be here with my cup of coffee and ready to go. Okay, guys. Thank you. Good night. See you. Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. I hope you have an awesome day. Till next time, take care.